Okay, so I went down the rabbit hole of humanism. Let's shift back to art. But first, before we shift back to art, I want to talk to you about architecture in Italy as a whole. If you've ever been to Europe, you will know that the streets are gridded in an axial plan, as opposed to streets in the West typically have a uh, 90-degree organizational system. In fact, like if you look on a map, everything's gridded off in boxes, right? Whereas in Europe, everything sort of stems from this main hub. So there's like a central circle and then like spokes on a wheel. Things jet out within the city from that main hub. That main hub is typically the town square. We call that a palazzo in Italy. And each town square typically has a town building that is an important center. We just got done looking at the effects of good government. It is in a palazzo pubblico, meaning it's in the public palazza of Siena. Florence has one of those plazas as well, and it's a very important place in which art is displayed. It's an important place where people go for whatever civic needs they have. Oftentimes, if you have a birth or a marriage or something like that, you need to file government documents. Those things are done at the civic center. So just wanted to give you that background information about the way that European streets tend to be organized. This is the Piazza della Signoria. It is the piazza for Florence. So we've moved to Florence. We just got done talking about Siena and art in Siena. Let's talk about art in Florence. Just like Siena, Florence has a ruling body. They're called the Signoria. That ruling body is their oligarchy. This is the town hall where the body met and where democracy of the ruling elite takes place. Rules, civic engagements happen here at the Palazzo della Signoria. Next to the town hall, you see a loggia. A loggia is a covered walkway. It provides shade and protection from the elements of the sun and inclement weather to people who were gathering at the piazza. Because the piazza is a civic building, oftentimes there were large crowds that were drawn to the civic building, and so the loggia was necessary because an overabundance of people would be there. Today, the loggia actually houses artwork. Typically, it will house sculpture, but back in the Proto-Renaissance times, it would have just provided shade for people who were coming to the civic area. These are the these are the baptistry doors of the Cathedral of San Giovanni in Florence. They were done by an artist named Pisano. He was awarded the commission for the baptistry doors in 1330. They have 20 scenes of the life of John the Baptist, who the Church of San Giovanni is dedicated to. The doors have an overall effect of flatness, mostly due to the repeated shape of the quatrefoil. The use of gold is prominent in the figures, and each panel makes a shape called the quatrefoil that's housed in a rectangular background. The figures tend to feel as if they float within that quatrefoil. I think mostly because the grid creates a sense of depth. Here's a detail of one of the panels from the baptistry doors of San Giovanni. And you can see how the quatrefoil shape, that's this four-leaf clover shape behind the figures, sort of frames the figures in, but creates a sense of depth. The quatrefoil shape feels as if it recedes into space from the framing of the box or the grid that Pisano creates to house the quatrefoil shape. And then the scene tends to float out in front of it, I think because it projects upward from the quatrefoil shape. And so you get this interesting sense of depth. But then when he adds the gold leafing onto the figures feel like they sort of float out towards you. They are elongated. They have great sense of movement. The humanism comes in from the idea that Jesus is being baptized. That's something that's done here on earth during his life, as a human. And then you see John the Baptist baptizing Jesus. John the Baptist is tipped over at the hips, sort of leaning towards Jesus with a pail of water. You can see the garment flows towards the right, and he has a sense of elongation, but a more humanistic look than the Gothic figures. The gold leafing, the quatrefoil shape are both hallmarks of the Proto-Renaissance era.